Hi everyone, I'm Rose, I'm from Minerva, and for today's video we will be looking at my top 10 Vogue Autumn Transitional Patterns that are perfect for a capsule wardrobe. So I have 10 patterns from Vogue as well as a selection of fabrics to go with them, and of course autumn is that awkward stage of the year where it's not quite cold enough to go out in like a heavy coat, and it's also not warm enough just to go out in a simple t-shirt. So I've picked some fabrics here that hopefully will bridge that gap and create you an autumn transitional capsule wardrobe. If you're creating a capsule wardrobe and you're going to have a limited amount of clothing, then it's always a good idea to have the best quality fabrics that you can. So of course you're not going to have like 15 t-shirts and 50 pairs of jeans. You're going to have a limited amount of clothing. So why not make them out of the best quality material that you can get? There's a few other things you need to consider with like a capsule wardrobe. So that's your body shape. Certain garments might suit you better, and of course a colour scheme is always a good option, especially with a season like autumn which is full of colour. So the colours I've gone with mostly for these fabrics are autumn based, so we've got some nice deep colours, rust colours, I've got some printed fabrics in there also. So it's a good range of fabrics for this capsule wardrobe for autumn. Your one coat pattern for your capsule wardrobe could very well be the Vogue 1962. Now this is a coat pattern, comes in two different styles, A and B. A is that shorter mid-length and has no collar. B is the full length and it does have that stand-up collar, and personally the View B is my favourite because I think it looks really stylish. Now you could layer up this coat of course, so if you had dresses on underneath, or if you had more of a lightweight pair of trousers and a t-shirt, the full length will help keep you warm and stop that cold autumn wind going around your legs. So it's a good pattern to have, and you can do it in many different fabrics, but mostly sort of more medium weight to heavier weight. So think wools, tweeds, boucles. There's a good couple of options coming up for this pattern. It's an intermediate sew, so it's a little bit more difficult, and it does come in sizes 8 to 16. Let's crack on with our first fabric, and it's the Minerva Core Range 100% pure wool fabric, cotton fabric. So it's a heavy material, it's very thick. We're looking at maybe 2 millimeters in thickness. It's going to be really, really cozy to wear. The feel of the fabric is slightly rougher though. It's more of a harsher feel to it. So some wools you get can be really nice and soft, but this is a little bit more rougher in feel. But where it does have that thickness, it's going to be really warm. So it works well with this full length coat. So it's made from 100% wool. To care for this material, you need to care for it really, really carefully. You don't want to be washing it on a high heat because it will shrink, and generally I would say more spot cleaning for a wool material, just because it is a more delicate fabric to care for. Now I've got it in the green, and it's this nice deep dark green colour, but it does come in more than 40 other colours. Our next fabric is very similar in colour to our wool fabric, but this is the boucle textured cotton fabric. So it's still a heavyweight material, still great for the pattern, but this is much more softer in feel than the wool, which is a little bit more rougher. It's made from 100% polyester, so it's a bit more easier to care for also than the wool fabric. So I've got it in the bottle green, but it does come in around about 10 colours. There's a nice mixture of colours there. And the texture of this is so soft. Think like a teddy material where it's kind of fluffy. This is very, very similar to a teddy material, but it is a boucle, so it's nice and a nice irregular texture. Now it does have a stretch. It has a stretch width of 40% and a stretch length of 20%. So I'll just show you if I can grasp hold of it. It does have a little bit of stretch to it, but it is a sturdy material. It's a sturdy knit material. So it's going to work fine for the pattern, because anything with a little bit more stretch like a jersey wouldn't work, but because this is a sturdy knit fabric, it will work okay for this pattern. Having a pattern in your autumn collection that will help you layer up garments is a great thing to have, and this pattern, which is the Vogue 1914, will do that perfectly. So it comes in 3 different styles, A, B and C. You will be using jersey or stretch materials for this because of course it's for stretch materials, and I have a couple of good fabrics coming up for this pattern. It comes in sizes extra small to XXL, and it's an easy pattern to make. This is a fine brushed viscose sweater knit stretch fabric, and it's made from 65% polyester, 30% viscose and 5% lycra. And oh boy, what a soft material it is. It's so soft and cozy. This class is a medium weight fabric, and it does have 2 sides to it. So you'll see that the one side is not brushed, it's a much more dark colour, and then the other side is brushed, and it has this fuzzy feel to it, so you can see the knit structure in there, but on top where it's been brushed, it's so soft. So if you're making this pattern for say loungewear, then this is a nice material to make it out of, but also if you're using the pattern say to the garments to layer up, this again is a great option because it's going to be nice and warm. So it has a stretch width of 55% and a stretch length of 45%. We have another sweater knit fabric here, and this is a linen and viscose sweater knit. So it's made from 55% linen and 45% viscose. It has a stretch width of 70% and a stretch length of 25%. And being made from linen, it is a very breathable and airy fibre because it's a natural fibre. It does make it a little bit more flowy than the previous sweater knit, whereas a more medium weight, this is more lightweight, so it does have a little bit of a better flow to it. Vogue 1913 is an advanced pattern, so it's a little bit more difficult. 2 different styles there, 2 different garments. So we have view B, which is the full jumpsuit that has quite thin narrow straps, it's princess seams and stirrups as well. And then we have view A, which is the blazer. 2 different materials for these 2 different styles. For the blazer you will need more suiting materials, so wool, gabardines, those types of materials, and then for the jumpsuit you will need more stretchy materials. View B is a very nice simple jumpsuit pattern. There's no fuss to it. Those nice princess seams give all the detail that this jumpsuit needs, and of course you could layer it up with say jumpers or cardigans like in the previous pattern, those 2 top styles. That would look really nice layered up over top of this jumpsuit. The first fabric I've chosen for this pattern is the same as the green wool we had earlier on, so the 100% pure wool cotton fabric. And this one I've chosen for the blazer, so it's going to be a little bit more thicker than say a twill, and it's going to be nice and warm, so layering up for those that 2-piece outfit, this is going to be a good option for the blazer. But I've chosen it in the rust colour because the fabric I have for the jumpsuit is a pattern fabric, and it has this colour in the pattern, so I think it would match really well. And that fabric is the Minerva exclusive Parading Palms loop back French terry fabric. This is a much more thicker and sturdier material than the previous stretch fabrics we had, the sweater knit fabrics, and it's made from 95% cotton, 5% lycra. Has a stretch width of 30% and a stretch length of 50%, so there's a good amount of give in this material. Being a loop back French terry fabric, the first side, of course, the main side is the knit structure, and you can see that. and then the reverse side is the loop stretcher, and that makes it really nice and warm because of course it's a much thicker material. Now the pattern, of course, as you can see, is like these bold circles on the base. We have the base curve like a beige, sort of beige, and then we have ochres, rust colours and navies, and that rust colour is why I picked the rust coloured wool, because I think that matches quite nicely. So if you're making an outfit for your capsule wardrobe of the jumpsuit and the blazer, then this combination is going to work really nicely, because you've got the nice bold pattern for the jumpsuit and then the plainer blazer to go on top. So Your Truth has used this fabric for her dress pattern, and she's made a very loose fitting dress, got a nice ruffle on the bottom, very autumn style, because the colours of this fabric and the print are very seasonal, so it's a good fabric to use for autumn capsule wardrobes. Just say it's a little bit more warmer in autumn than what we think, or maybe it's the beginning of autumn and you can still get away with wearing things like shorts and trousers, then the Vogue 1900 is a great pattern for this part of the season. Both are semi-fitted around the hips and then looser around the legs. They have darts or pleats on the front and the back. Both come with pockets and fitted waistband, and they're both fastened with a zipper. Easy pattern to make, and it comes in sizes 8 to 26. It's going to work really well with materials like linens or twills. Something more medium weight to heavier weight works best for this pattern. First of all, there are more than 20 colours available of this fabric. I have it in the old gold because I wanted to stick with autumny colours, warm colours, but being more than 20 colours, there's a nice range on the website. And this is the washed slub 100% linen fabric. So it's made from 100% linen, makes it lovely, airy and breathable, and you get that nice linen look through this fabric, so a lovely uneven weave and very sort of rustic in feel. It's going to make a great pair of trousers and shorts, especially for, say, the start of autumn where it's just getting a little bit more chillier. Then this is going to be a nice lightweight linen to wear, nice and breathable for, say, if it does get a little bit warmer in the day than what you expected. Even though we have mostly autumn colours, we can still have a nice bold pink colour, can't we, for our little capsule wardrobe? So this is the 8 wale cotton corduroy fabric. Made from 100% cotton, it's a non-stretch woven material, and the 8 wale means that it has 8 cords to an inch. It's quite a sturdy material, it's more heavier weight material than the linen, so this will be a fabric that will take you through from autumn to winter for our autumn capsule wardrobe. It is directional fabric and it does have a nap, so when you're putting your pattern pieces onto this fabric, make sure that it's all going in the same direction. And as it does have a nice sturdy feel to it, it's going to hold the elements like the darts really, really nicely. Vogue 1901 is a very fashionable pattern, and it comes in 4 different styles. View C and D are shorts and trousers, so very similar in styles, just the lengths differ. And then we have view A and B, and those tops are very unique. So they're fitted or semi-fitted around the bust. They have sleeves, but there's a peplum on view A, and of course view B is much, much longer. Great outfit if you like coordinating your garments or coordinating your outfits, and this is a brilliant pattern to have, and it can be made in so many different materials. If you wanted it more for summer wear, then of course you could use lighter materials like poplins. If you wanted it more towards autumn and winter, then twills or lightweight wools, crepes would work really well for this pattern. The top pattern is close fitting around the bust, and it's also lined, so you will need a lining. It's fastened with buttons and loops down the front, and it has an empire waistline, so that's a really nice high seam just underneath the bust. For this fabric we have a 1/4 inch check gingham fabric, and it's made from 65% polyester and 35% cotton, and it's a non-stretch fabric. This is a nice simple patterned fabric, so if you didn't like anything overly bold or which was too large, then a check gingham is a good fabric to have if you did want a patterned fabric. I have the wine here, so it's like these dark burgundy squares with the mid-tone red squares and then the whites background. But it does come in more than 20 shades, so there's a good colour range there of different colours of gingham, including like the typical blues and reds. I think this would look good for the top pattern because it's a lightweight material, something that you could layer up underneath a coat or a heavy jacket, and also maybe for the trousers this would look nice, you know, if you had a matching coordinated outfit with the trousers. Next up we have the woven stretch cotton sateen fabric, and this has a stretch width of 20%. So it's a nice matte stretch in this material. This is made from 97% cotton and 3% elastane, and being a sateen fabric it has a soft luster to it. This is a medium weight fabric, and like I said, being a sateen, it's not a shiny satin, it's not a bold luster. It's a very soft, just a gentle luster, a gentle shine. It's medium weight, so it's heavier than the gingham, and it does have a good crispiness about it, a good firm fold to this fabric. It's going to work really nicely with those trousers, you know, because they're very tapered, very slim. So using this fabric for them, of course having that little bit of stretch as well will make it a little bit more easier to wear. But also it's going to be really quite nice for the tops because you have the peplum of the shorter style top. It's going to have a nice stretch to it, and then the longer style top where it goes, it's more sort of midi length, so maxi length. This again is going to be it's going to hold its shape really well. So I have it in the Bordeaux, the dark burgundy, and it could be paired with that wine gingham. So if you made, say, the crop top or the small top in the gingham and then use these for the trousers, again it would make a great coordinated set. The Vogue 1898 pattern is a dress pattern, and it's a single style dress pattern. It's classed as an advanced pattern and it has quite a few elements thrown into it. So we have a stand collar, and that is a notch collar. It's got turned back sleeves. It's a very nice deep plunger neckline which has a tie around it, and it's a full skirt. If there was ever going to be one dress in your capsule wardrobe for autumn that you were going to make, then I think this is a really good one to do. It can be made in different materials, so you can use pattern materials for a very bold dress, or you could use more plainer materials and add elements into it like top stitching, just to put in a few more details. You will need some notions for this pattern, and that will be an invisible zipper, 2 hooks and eyes, and some hanging ribbon to put on the inside of the dress. And it comes in sizes 8 to 24. For this pattern we have the Triple Crown velvet fabric, and this is made from 100% polyester, and it's a non-stretch material. It's a velvet, it's so soft, it's a piled fabric, so it does have a nap, but it's so smooth, and this dark green gives it an almost sort of royal look. Compared to some other velvets that are a little bit more heavier weight, more stretched, this is quite a loose, flowy material. You can see there it does have a nice soft drape to it. To work with this pattern, of course, that nice big skirt is going to make this fabric is going to flow really well, have some nice drapes on that skirt, but it does also have the strength and structure there for the ties and for the sleeves. This is a luxury smooth crepe fabric, and it's made from 100% polyester. It's a woven non-stretch fabric. The texture of this is a crepe, but it's a very fine crepe, smooth, not an overly bold or pronounced crepe. So it does give it a really nice flat bold colour. You can really show off the colour of this fabric. Because it's a plain fabric, you could choose another crepe fabric with a different colour, or the same crepe with a different colour, and make a garment that has different colours in it. So for example, that tie around the front, you could do that in a different colour, same with the sleeves, and really make a unique dress. Our next pattern lends itself well to playing around with contrasting colours of fabrics and some contrasting patterns too, and it's the Vogue 1904. It's two different styles. There's a tunic and a dress style in there, and it does come with a few different elements. So we have the collar, it's got a yoke, there's ruffles, patch pockets, and two different sleeve styles. So we have the more open sleeve style, and then we have that voluptuous sleeve on the bottom half of the sleeve. Now you can definitely remove these elements if you don't like them. For example, the ruffles around the yoke, you don't need to put that in. You could also remove the sleeves, make them shorter sleeves, and just play around with the different elements of this pattern, and also different colour combinations or different print combinations. For example, if you had a pattern on the yoke and the sleeves, you match that up and then have the main part of the dress or the tunic a plain colour, or vice versa if you had a pattern fabric for the main part of the dress and then plainer materials for the yoke and the sleeves. This is another pattern where I've paired two fabrics together. Because that pattern does have different elements to it, so we have the yoke and the ruffles and the sleeves, I think you could play around with using pattern fabrics and then plain fabrics to match. So the first fabric I have is the viscose challis fabric, and I have it in black. Nice and soft, does have a wonderful drape to it. It's made from 100% viscose and is a non-stretch fabric. It comes in more than 60 colours, so even if you wanted to use a different pattern fabric for some of those elements, you could more than likely find a matching shade in this fabric to go with that pattern fabric. And so the next one we have, which is the pattern fabric, is the Minerva exclusive Tropic Days fabric. And this is a viscose challis fabric. So again, it's very, very similar, matching in feel to that challis fabric, but this is the patterned alternative. So the pattern, the print of this fabric, we have like a beige background, and then we have these really nice bold leaves on top. We've got some 3D sort of leaves, we have some lined leaves, block colours, and this is all in different sort of autumn colours. So I've matched the black with these particular leaves here, and I think that works really, really well together. But you could also, if you wanted to, take up one of the other colours like the red or the yellow, and again that would make a different look, a different style to this pattern. For the shirt pattern, we have the Vogue 1899, and this is a nice loose fitting shirt. It has a shaped collar, low elbow sleeves and turn back cuffs, and it also has a high-low hem and button closure. Now this would be a great pattern to match with one of the patterns that we had earlier on, for example the jumpsuit pattern where I mentioned layering up on the top, and also the trouser pattern. You can use mostly lightweight materials for this. Materials that also have a little bit of drape would work well, so poplins, crepes, they would work nicely with this material, but you could also use, say, more of a medium weight like a linen just to make it a little bit more thicker, and that would also help hold the elements of the stand of the shape collar and the cuffs really nicely. This is a double cotton gauze fabric, so it's made from 2 layers of gauze sewn together, and it's made from 100% cotton, so it's a very breathable fabric. The base of this fabric is that gauze texture. You do get that gauze look, but on top, of course, it's covered in these metallic dots, and it's just such a pretty fabric. They're not regular dots, they're irregular, so it has like a starry night sort of look to it. Now I have it in the burgundy or the wine colour, and the dots on top are gold, but there's more than 15 other colours available of this fabric, and they will have different dot colours, so some will have silver and some will have gold. For the shirt, it's a loose fitting shirt, so using a fabric like this, which is nice and soft and very drapey, will create more of a relaxed looking garment, which will be nice for sort of everyday wear. Next up we have the brushed cotton fabric, and this is made from 100% cotton. It's a woven non-stretch material. It's finely brushed, so it has a smooth appearance to it, but it's not overly fuzzy or fluffy. The print, as you can see, is like tartan, and there's a tartan check, and there's more than 15 patterns available of this fabric, but I have it in the colour called bracken, and it's a nice mixture of reds, so oranges, blues and greys, so we're going with that autumn theme with this fabric. With a check fabric or a pattern fabric like this, it does make a good opportunity to try out that pattern matching, and you could definitely give it a go with this pattern. For a more lighter jacket option than the first pattern we had, which was that long coat, the Vogue 1925 fits the bill really nicely. So it's a semi-fitted jacket. It has a nice wide high collar. View B has a hood. It's got asymmetric closing with the zip, and it has welted pockets and 2-piece sleeves. Classed as an intermediate sew, you could use different materials for this. You could use like a denim, which would be a bit more stiffer, or say a thicker material like a wool if you did want it to be a little bit warmer. It's also a lined pattern, so you will need a lining material. It's definitely a pattern that focuses on construction, so you have the princess seams on the back, and you have those 2-piece sleeves. So if you're a little bit unsure about making this pattern, then making a mock-up is a good option just to get yourself familiar with the way that the pattern sews. The first fabric we have paired with this pattern is a suede scuba stretch knit fabric. It's made from 95% polyester and 5% lycra. It has a stretch width of 30% and a stretch length of 10%, so there's a good amount of stretch along the width of this fabric. It feels like suede, so it's not a real suede, it's a faux suede, but it does have that really nice soft smooth feel to it, and the drape of this is quite nice and soft as well. But it does have a good structure, which is what you need for this garment, because it is a very construction based pattern. A real suede might be a little bit difficult to care for, so you have to be careful when using like a real suede that you don't get it wet and then you don't wash it. But a faux suede made from polyester is a little bit more easier to look after, and yeah, it's a nice material. It'll be a nice material to make this jacket out of. The other fabric we have paired with this pattern is a 280 GSM washed denim stretch fabric. So it's made from 48% cotton, 48% polyester and 4% elastane, and it has a stretch width of 10%. So there's a nice little bit of give in this fabric. It's a good sturdy medium weight to heavyweight material, so it is like a jean weight denim, which you do need something with a bit of structure for this pattern. Anything too light or floaty won't work particularly well, so a good sturdy material like a twill or a denim is going to be a great combination. Of course, you do have that really nice wide high collar as well, so it's going to hold the structure of that. It's going to it's going to stand up really quite nicely. Now you could play around with the colours as well, so because you've got elements of that jacket that has side panels, we have princess seams, we have sleeves, so you could play around with the colours, mix and match the colours, make a patchwork style jacket using either different colours of this denim or say different coloured twills. Our last pattern is a Vogue 1923, and this is a bodysuit pattern. Again, one that could be layered up really easily, one of those staple pieces you could have in your wardrobe. You could put trousers, shorts or skirts with this bodysuit. It does really lend itself well to a very limited amount of clothing. So it's very tight fitting, closely fitted, and it does have this nice crossover detail at the front, which creates that soft V necklines off the shoulder and has that fold over at the back. Two different styles, both similar in the bodice, but they have different sleeve lengths. So we've got the first one, which is just above the elbow, and then style B, which is full length sleeves. You'll need jersey materials for this, or materials that have a good amount of stretch to them. So if you were making more of an everyday bodysuit, you could use just a plain simple jersey, or if you were making more of a bodysuit that you wanted to use as part of a special occasion outfit, then you could use more of a special fabric, a glittery fabric like I do have coming up. Our last pattern is going to have some pretty cool fabrics, and the first one that we have is the Minerva Core Range Crushed Velvet Stretch Knit fabric. It's made from 100% polyester. It's a stretch fabric, so it has a stretch width of 90% and a stretch length of 10%. A regular velvets will have a regular pile, so like the velvet we had earlier on, the Triple Crown velvet, that was a very flat, smooth pile. But a crushed velvet has an irregular pile, which gives it this amazing mottled effect. So I have it in the wine, which is a nice deep red colour, and it gives us almost like a royal colour really. The feel of this is very soft and drapey. It's got a lovely drape to it. You can see it picks up the light beautifully. So for that element across the top of the bodysuit where it's gathered, this will gather and create some really nice pleats. It's a fine gather, so once you've gathered this material up, it's going to have a really nice aesthetic to it. But of course it is still strong enough for the body of the bodysuit as well, because it has that stretch, so it's going to be nice and close fitting. I'd like to think I've saved one of the coolest fabrics till last, and this is the Dazzle Glitter Silky ITY Stretch fabric. And it's made from 94% polyester and 6% elastane with a stretch width of 60% and a stretch length of 20%. And it doesn't really need a lot of explaining. It's absolutely covered in glitter, so sparkly. You'll be able to see it as I move it around and give it a wiggle. It just is absolutely stunning. Anything that you make out of this material, whether it is this bodysuit pattern or another pattern, it's going to be a showstopper. It does drape and flow really nicely, quite a soft flowy drape. Once that's gathered up for that element of the bodysuit, like the across the shoulder, it's going to hang really nicely, but it does have that firm stretch to it, so it's going to be very form-fitting as well. I've got it in the colour Rose Gold, which is that nice pinky grey colour, but it does come in more than 10 other shades, so there's a good range of colours available for this fabric. And the silver glitter on top, of course, is very sparkly, and it is slightly holographic as well, so you get a few different colours coming through that sparkle. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. We've gone through 10 patterns for autumn transitional, and they're Vogue patterns, as well as a whole bunch of fabrics to be paired with them. Now, if you have made any of these patterns or use any of these fabrics, you can post about it on the Minerva community, and you can sign up to the Minerva community by creating a free account. And when you do post anything that you've made out of this video or with these fabrics, then tag me in them because I would love to see what you've made. Now don't forget that all the links to these fabrics and patterns you will find it in the description box, and if you have any comments, any questions, do put them in the comment section and we will do our best to get back to you. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.